500 pairs at $90 per, and I probably had $8,000 in my bank account. I had $45,000 worth of sneakers, and I had no buyer. And by the way, I have 30 days until I have to pay off this credit card. So, if you don't already know me, my name's Ethan Williams. I'm 19 years old. I live here in New Jersey, right across from New York City. I live with my best friend, who lives upstairs. I'm a tech founder of the company called Sire. So, the beginning, when I turned 14, I remember I was actually at my cousin's house, Chapin, in Ohio. And I remember I was always interested in sneaker collecting and like Jordans and Yeezys and things like that. So, I remember I was at his house and he showed me this bot, like this sneaker bot. It's called Project Destroyer. He's like, bro, you can get all these Yeezys from it. Like you could get them for $220, sell them at $300. And I thought it was so interesting. Like I was like, okay, there's something there. And I always wanted shoes, but like my parents wouldn't buy them for me because they're like outrageously expensive, like $300, $400. This was Thanksgiving. So literally the Monday when I got home, I made my first resale Instagram page. It's called Michigan Hype. And that was created in November 2019. So from there, basically what I did was I started off with just cleaning used shoes. I would buy used shoes on Instagram, sell them, basically buy them used, clean them, resell them back, and just make $5 to $10 per. I bought my first shoe, the Dave White Jordan 1, and I lost $50 on my first shoe, and I only had maybe $150 saved up from like Christmas and stuff like that. So, you know, and that took me like 3 weeks to sell. So that was my first actual sale, and I lost $50. But, you know, I was super interested. It really caught my attention because I'm like, wow, like the concept that really hit for me was I could buy a Yeezy, which like I really wanted, and it's $300, so it is a lot up front. But the thing is they hold their value and go up. So like a brand new pair might be like $400, but you could buy a used one for like $280. You can clean them up, they're good as new. And then when you sell them later, that shoe that was $400 goes up to like $550. So oftentimes you can profit when you sell it later. So I was like, so I can wear my cool shoes and make money. Why would I not do that? And that was kind of the interest that started the whole thing. I realized that I couldn't do it on my own. And this was the first part of my like entrepreneurial career where I realized the value of, you know, partnering and working with other people. So I was at my friend Alex and Jordan's house, the twins that live down the street from me. I've known them since I was in second grade, and I went up to them and I was at their house. They already had all these Jordans and Yeezys and stuff that they had to wear themselves. So I was like, hey, like, would you guys like want to start, like, would you guys want to join my Michigan Hype page? Like, we could sell some of the old shoes you have. We could add it to the Instagram, because at that time it's all about like, you know, how many shoes you post. Like, it's like how cool you are in the sneaker space at that time. So we basically took pictures of all their used shoes, put them up, and we're like, you know what we'll do? We'll all start reselling, and we'll all use Michigan Hype to like sell our pairs. Because that way it's 3 times the amount of shoes instead of 1. And when I first started, that was everything. It was 3 times the amount of business, 3 times the amount of brand building. But we had our own businesses. Like, we weren't partners. Like, we didn't split money or anything. But we just used it as something where it was like we all sell on it, you know, and all buy from it. That was kind of the first start to it, was just building the network. And we were all still like 14 years old. And, you know, we didn't really know what we were doing, but we learned a lot along the way. I went on for like about a year or so, just kind of buying and selling the used sneakers, building my audience of like local people around me, making, you know, $5 to $10 a shoe, maybe sometimes like 30 if I got lucky. But, you know, I probably had 10, 20 shoes in my inventory by the end of the year. And this is when I kind of circled back to the sneaker botting. And I found that, you know, maybe I built up some money now. I maybe had like $5,000 over the course of the year that I made, and just kind of like was like, okay, let's try one of these sneaker bots. And I remember the first shoe I ever got off a bot. It wasn't actually a bot, actually. It was like an add to cart link. So I joined this Discord group, and it was like $60 a month. It was called Juice Sneakers. And I basically joined the group, and they had like if there was a restock in a sneaker, it would or like a new launch, it would send you like the add to cart link. So you could click on the link and it would automatically add it to your cart for you. And so I bought the Yeezy 700 Alva for $200 in this group, right? And so the group basically told me to go buy it, $200, and I bought it. And then I posted, once I bought it for $200, I posted the screenshot of it in the chat, like in the same like Discord group, and in the chat, and I said, want to sell for $400. I sold it within 10 minutes at $400, paid upfront. So I literally made double my money in like less than 10 minutes. And this is kind of the big moment for me. I'm like, dang, like you can make a lot of money from this. Like, and this is the time of my life where, you know, kids start getting jobs, you know, they go work at a restaurant or like things like that. I was like, dude, like those restaurants are going to pay me like $10 an hour. Like this is 20 hours worth of work or 10 minutes off a sneaker bot. And I didn't know it was like luck at the time, but I mean, you can kind of play your own luck when it comes to some things in business, kind of like understanding where, you know, you have your advantages and disadvantages. So that was kind of what opened me up to, you know, maybe I don't need to have my own job. Maybe I can just make it on my own. And that first shoe was big for me and was kind of like, okay, there's something here. So I kept continuing with the sneaker botting, and I met my friend Kyle. Kyle lives in New Jersey, and that's one of the reasons I live here now, because he's still one of my best friends to this day. And we were both very interested in the sneaker botting. We didn't really know much, and we just kept going on calls every day, all day during COVID, like freshman year of high school, just trying to figure out how to bot the best, like how do we get the most amount of shoes, and like, you know, you need more addresses and more like virtual credit cards and like all these little tricks to get as many shoes as possible without the websites finding out, because when you bot, you're not supposed to like, you're only supposed to buy one pair per person. So like you have to try and trick the websites into thinking you're multiple people. So we did that, and we did pretty well with it. I mean, for being 15 years old, I mean, we made a good amount of money at 15 years old. The reason me and Kyle worked really well together is because in New Jersey, there's actually no sales tax on sneakers. So I would basically ship pairs to New Jersey at his house instead of Michigan, because Michigan has 6% sales tax. And he would basically just unpack all the boxes and then ship them back out for me to my customers. So I would pay him, I would save money on the taxes, and he made money. So we all kind of won at a very early stage where every dollar kind of counts. I remember, and Kyle's gonna watch this, and I mean, this was one of the craziest parts of my reselling journey. This was like very early, like before we did anything big with botting. There was this kid, I'm not gonna like say who he was, but he was buying all these Air Force Ones, these white Air Force Ones. He's posting, he's like 16 years old too, like our age, but like he has thousands of sneakers. And I reached out, I was like, hey, like, how much are you paying on these white Air Force Ones? Because I was like, they're just on Foot Locker, and like, you know, why do I just buy them, you know? And he said he was paying like 94, 95, something like that, right? And I could buy them on Nike and Foot Locker at $90. Ship them to Kyle's house, no sales tax, no shipping. I would get money off the credit card, cash back. I would pay like, you know, 88 and sell them for 94. So I make $6 per, and he was buying like hundreds of them. So I was like, okay, let me go buy 500 of those. And what I'll do is buy them on my credit card, because, you know, it's a prepaid sale, right? Like they're already guaranteed to sell, right? So I bought 500 pairs at $90 per, which is $45,000. And let me tell you, I probably had $8,000 in my bank account. And because I was like, oh, it's a guaranteed sale, I'm gonna make, you know, $3,000 in profit, which at that time is insane. Like 15 years old, $3,000 doing nothing, because he was basically just gonna go pick them up at Kyle's house after they got delivered. They did deliver, and once they delivered, the guy said, oh, actually, you know what? I'm gonna pass. Like I'm good. I'm not gonna take them anymore. And this was like one of the biggest business foundational things that I've used to this day. Is like, I always just trust everyone's word. Like, oh, he said he was gonna do this, he's gonna do it. Like, you know, because that's how I was. I was like, oh, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Until you realize that not everyone's like that. You know, maybe they're in a bad spot, they didn't get paid either, some other guy down the line messed up, right? But at the end of the day, I had $45,000 worth of sneakers, and I had no buyer, and I have $8,000 left. So what I did, I'm trying to like figure out ways to return them as much as possible. Foot Locker's telling me, oh, you can't return this many pairs. And then I start trying to sell them to a sneaker store. And by the way, I have 30 days until I have to pay off this credit card. So I list them all on eBay. I put it at $85. It was the lowest listed price. Everyone was at $110. I listed at $85. I listed on Amazon, eBay. I posted on my Instagram. I called every sneaker store. I literally made a list of every single sneaker store. I called every single one. Hey, would you buy these? $88 per, lowest on the market. I went down to as even low as $85, right? And my eBay, of all things, actually started to pick up a lot. And since I was the lowest listed, I ended up being the #1 ranked Air Force One listing on all of eBay. And I had 500 pairs. So I basically, as I sold through, and I was selling like 30 pairs a day. So it was selling pretty quickly, right? But I'm losing a lot, and I don't have much left. You know, I have $8,000. I can't afford to lose, you know, $2,000 or $3,000. Like that's almost like a quarter of my money, right? What I did is after I sold through like a little over 150 pairs on eBay, and I'm already ranked the #1, I slowly increased the price so that, you know, I would make back some of my money, right? And at the end of the day, I ended up losing probably $500, $600, but it made me really think outside the box, really understand, okay, if somebody says they're gonna do something, don't believe them, make them commit. Give some sort of down payment, give some sort of something. You know, you can't trust everyone's word, especially in business. And, you know, and also, but the main idea of it was it made me think, okay, I was screwed. I got through into the deep end, like to the max, and I had to find my way back up to the surface. And that's exactly what I did. I found all these new ways of selling, and then going on later, I found out, okay, I could sell on Amazon, I could sell on eBay, I could sell sneakers in all these places that people weren't thinking, right? And I wouldn't have had that unless I had this crazy challenge. I ended up paying the credit card, no problem, before the due date. That was kind of the era of my sneaker botting. And then I decided, like around 16 years old, to expand my vision in the sneaker space. Over time, so over the past 2 years, I really love sneakers. I love all the people in it. All my best friends I made are in the sneaker space. And I was like, you know what? I want to make my own sneaker event. I think that would be super awesome. I want to have my own event. We'll have vendors, we'll have people come, buy shoes, sell shoes in my local town. Like, we'll make it really cool. And I called it Sneaker Palooza. And the first one was April 30th, 2022. I had about 3 months to promote it. And by the way, I have zero experience like with any sort of marketing, any sort of event planning, nothing. I'm like just turning 16 years old. Like, I don't know anything. I like just got my driver's license, right? So I'm figuring things out. I went to every single sneaker store. I said, hey, if you can, like, if you want to go to this event, like, we're going to do a challenge. If you're the best buyer, we're going to give you a free pair of shoes. Let's do a video. We did videos with every single local sneaker store. We had them posted on their page. We posted on our page. We gave them free access, right? So we had all the biggest buyers in the area going to show up. And that was really important because if vendors are going to spend $100 on a vendor table, I want them to get their money worth, you know, because that's kind of the idea. They buy a vendor table 100, maybe they sell, like, they make 500 in profit and they gain some new customers, right? So I wanted to make sure that that would happen. So I'm kind of just like guerrilla marketing this, like I went to every event, like local event that was also like kind of competing with me. I would go to the event. I had every flyer. And at the time I'm still buying shoes. So I'm basically working in the deal. I'm like, hey, I'll buy like these 5 shoes for $500, but instead of that, I'll give you 400 and give you a free vendor table at my event next month. Gave them the flyer, and then I got their contact info, called them the next day, made sure that I locked in with their table. And moral of the story is, without any marketing experience, I think I spent $100 on ads, maybe. I had no idea, maybe 200. I had no idea what I was doing with ads. They probably didn't even work. But I ended up having like 500 people show up to like shop, like attendees shopping. And then I sold out vendor tables. We had like 70 vendor tables. The first event at 16 years old in Novi, Michigan. Like, it's not like a massive city. And for me, that was like one of the best days of my life, because if you've ever ran an event or did any sort of launch or anything like that, like the lead up, like imagine promoting something for 3 months. You have no idea if it's gonna work. And then, and also in that morning, there was nobody there. Like I thought everyone was gonna come at like 10 a.m. No one showed up till like 12:30. And I was so scared the whole time. Like no one's gonna show, like this is gonna be a mess. And then there was a line around the door. And it was just one of the best days because it was like all of that work I did, and you know, it was kind of just a shot in the dark. You didn't know if it was really gonna work. And it ended up working out. And you know, I ended up doing three more events after that with one of my good friends, Freddie. And we did the videos together. It ended up not working out because I just wanted to expand with my Sire, my tech company, which I'll get into in a moment. I mean, I learned so much, a lot of skills. I didn't make barely anything off the event. None of us did, but it was really fun. I built a lot of friendships, connections, and it was like there would be no Sire without Sneaker Palooza, because I started to understand what it takes to run like a real business of like, you know, sneaker reselling. It's like one side to that is more of like, you know, you're selling Nike and brand name products. So they kind of already have the reputation. You just kind of have it at a low price and you sell it, you know, there's not much branding you really need. It's more just kind of like jumping on a train that already is like going, you know? So, but with your own sneaker event, your own brand, you have to be the one that builds the train track and like literally push it with your bare hands at the beginning, right? So I learned a lot about how to create a great brand, how to get other people involved, how to bring people to the event through social media marketing, partnerships with other people, how to make sure customers are happy, like with the vendors, making sure they're selling shoes, making sure customers are walking out with shoes that they want at a good price, and you know, they found what they needed, and that they would come back to the next event, you know? That way every event would get bigger. I would have never learned those things if I never had made this event. So it's not always about the money. It's also about just the experiences you make along the way. And I mean, that was huge for me. I want to also talk about the friendships that I made along the way. In high school, it was a little bit difficult for me because I was doing all these crazy things, and I'm like 14, 15, 16 years old, like doing my own sneaker event, buying hundreds of sneakers, like I went down to the gas station near my house to meet up with some guy that's like 30 and I'm 15 years old buying like 100 shoes from him, you know? Like it's pretty weird at a young age to find to have such a passion for like entrepreneurship and things like that, because you know, there's not that many, you know, most kids they're playing, you know, sports and, you know, going to parties and having fun, which there's nothing against that. I'm not one to say, oh, that's super bad. You know, for me, I just didn't fit in quite with the normal high schoolers. And that's when I did find Kyle, Jet, and Freddie. And those kids are also kind of in the same boat. You know, we're all trying to do our own business. Like, we don't want a traditional job. We don't want to go a traditional path. We want to build a life for ourselves with a career that we can wake up every day and be excited about, where we control our own future. And that's what I really love about running a business. And so it was very hard for me in high school because I would go to school and I would be excited about all these things. No one really got it. They're like, why are you doing this? Why do you care so much? Like no one really got, oh, it's like a little lemonade stand. Like people don't really understand. This was my whole life. This was everything that I loved went into this business. Like all my time that I had after school and after sports was going into this. I barely slept. UPS closed at 6 p.m. I was at football practice till 7:30, so I would have to wake up early, pack all my orders because I have homework that night and a test the next day. You know, I'm doing all of these things, and I never let up on my business. I never let that go, and I'm so glad that I didn't, because it's panned out great for me now. And I'm excited for tomorrow, you know, so, but honestly, I couldn't have done it without my friends, because if I thought I was all alone in this, I don't know if I would have kept going. But the idea of that, you know, and these kids, by the way, Freddie lives in Illinois, like middle of nowhere, Illinois, like 2 hours south of Chicago. And then Kyle lives in New Jersey, just like a normal town, New Jersey. And same with Jet. Jet lives in like the suburbs of New York. So like, it's not like we're close by. None of us are close by. we're all just connected through like, we're just FaceTime every day, and we're like, we show each other our new ideas. Occasionally, like I'll fly to New Jersey, we'll all meet up, or someone will come to Michigan because I'm doing a sneaker event, things like that. And just like knowing that there's somebody else in your shoes is so important when you're on a journey to like do something that the rest of the people around you aren't. Because like, you have supports from your like hometown friends and your family, but it's not the same as somebody who's also experiencing that, because it's difficult. So I just want to say thank you to all my friends that kind of helped me through that, you know. So they just helped me push farther, aim higher, and just overall do better. So this is kind of the big part of my life, right? Where Sire became a thing. And this is when I started the software development of it in 2022, but I got scammed a lot. I went like Fiverr developer. And okay, by the way, give you a reference at this time. I probably have a little bit over $100,000 just like from sneakers. I'm selling a lot of sneakers for the past couple of years, building it up. You know, it's gotten a lot better on the sneaker side, right? And so I'm like, you know what? I want to make a software, because there's no easy way for me as a sneaker reseller to manage my business. There was an app called Scout, but it was very beginner level. Like it was not very, you know, there was no advanced functionalities to it. So I was like, you know what? I need this for myself. I'm going to make it. If no one else wants it, it's fine. I'll be the best reseller out there because I have this software. And so in 2022, the first payment I made was $14,500 to some software engineers in India that I met on Fiverr. And they made me some terrible app, and it wasted 7 months of my time. So I moved on to the next guy, this guy named Daneros. And he's from South Africa. And I probably paid him another 20-something thousand, another 5 months, another scam. It just keeps repeating itself. It's a nightmare, because software development, something that people don't think is that it's literally another language. It's like being English and trying to speak like French or something. Like it's a completely different language. So if you don't understand how to speak it, these people are just gonna take advantage of you. Like, have you ever been around like those people that are like speaking Spanish and they know you don't know, and like they're talking something bad about you? Like that's how it is. But like the problem is I'm paying them to talk bad about me, and I don't know what's going on, right? They would basically create one bug and then they would fix it but create a new one, because they're paid like weekly. So they would just prolong the whole thing, and there would be no product at the end, right? So I'm at my breaking point, and I'm at Jet's house. I'm literally in Jet's basement on his couch. I'll never forget this moment. Danny Avital, one of my good friends, sitting next to me. I'm telling him, like, bro, like, I'm just gonna quit. I'm just gonna go to college. Like, I'm done. I'm just gonna get a normal job. I'll resell shoes. Like, I've already spent 6 figures on this software with marketing and branding and software and scams and all the nonsense. I'm just done. Like, I can't keep investing into this. Every dollar I make from my reselling business is going into this. And I'm at a point where it's like, I'm either deciding to go to college or go out on my own and really pursue this full time and take this really seriously. And at this time, it's like, I'm not actually making money, because every dollar I make goes back into Sire. So it's like, I'm at a really hard time. And Danny told me, he said, listen, like, you've already spent so much. If it only took another 10,000, 20,000, another month or two to really get the software there, think of how much better it would be. All the work that you put in, don't you need this for your own business? Like, you can't quit on it. And so this is what I did. I was like, all right, I'm going to give it one last chance. I called my dad. My dad's my advisor, a lot of this stuff. When I'm kind of lost, I'm just like, dude, what do I do? And he helps me a lot, gives me very good advice. And he told me, he was like, I have a guy, he can help you. His name's Raphael. He has a software company. He might be able to help you. I hopped on a call with him. He referred me to somebody, and they audit my software, kind of go through it and say like, oh, the moral of the story is they told me these software engineers are scamming you, or you're going to have to redo the whole project. And when they told me that, I was like, are you kidding me? Like literally, like, I spent over a year and a half of my life, like $100,000, and you're telling me I have to restart it all. Yeah, that was what the news I got. Going into like my college decision making, And he basically quoted me to redo the app. And I said, okay, let's do it. 3 months later, Sire officially went live on the App Store in August 2023, August 28th. And that was probably one of the happiest days of my life because, oh my gosh, like all of that work finally came to something. I literally, the amount of times I told people, oh, it'll be ready in 2 weeks, the app will be ready in 2 weeks is insane. Like I literally said that for like 2 years, but it actually finally was live. I texted every person I know. I said the app is finally live. Go download it, go download it. I texted all the sneaker people. I said, guys, it's finally ready. Like go use it. It was just a really amazing day. And then I realized, oh, well, like now I have to like build a brand and promote it and like actually make money, you know, because like just because you make the app doesn't mean you make money. Like you have to have people go on the app and then pay you to use the app, which is a whole other problem. I ended up working out. The inventory is actually live on the App Store right now as well. I'm working on a lot of big things for it. I'm trying to build one of the biggest networks for the next generation. I'm still very young. I feel like I'm gonna be one of the largest leaders of technology over the course of the next 10, 20 years. You know, like the next generation of software and kind of innovation, because that's kind of where I see myself like going. I've already done a decent amount and I just want to keep providing good products and goodness into the world. Because I'm not really the one that, I don't care about money. I just want to make something, have people look at it and say, I find this very useful. Like, I love this. Like, thank you for making this. That's what really makes me happy. And the more often I can do that, the better I'll be. I wanted to make this video so you guys maybe have a little bit of an understanding of my story and kind of see I'm not just some person behind the screen on your phone. Like, I'm a real person. I have a real story. And you know, maybe if you right there, you or somebody you know, maybe you're in the middle of it. Maybe you're at the breaking point on Jed's couch where you're like, man, I'm gonna be done. Like I can't keep going. Well, just like listen to what I just said and realize that everyone has their own unique story, and that's like it's like a movie. Like I've always said, by the time I'm 30, I want to have my own movie that's about my life, and because your life is up and down. You're the hero in your own movie. And the more problems that you have, the larger the problem, the more extreme the stakes, the better of a hero you are. And I really do believe that. So if you're in the middle, or if someone you know is in the middle, just show them this. Let them know. Say, hey, this can work out. There are supposed to be problems. Because if it was, I don't want to say this because everyone says it, but if it's that easy, everyone would do it. But it's really true because it's so hard. It's so hard. I gave up so much. I sacrificed so much of the past 5 years to get where I am now. But the thing is, it's worth it. The other people didn't sacrifice that. And that's what makes you different. That's why some people that you look up to, they're just like doing crazy things because it was a crazy process to get there. It's not just like, oh, like I click a button and then like I magically become like this amazing person. It's about the along the way, the person you become. To become like great, it's about the time it takes because you learn these characteristics and you know, you have the mindset of a great person. You know, if you just get that overnight, you're not gonna be great. If you are having a hard time, it's gonna be okay. It ends up working out as long as you keep pushing forward and just not giving up. You know, I just wanna leave that at the end of this video to make sure, like, you know, the same way I felt somewhat of alone throughout high school of saying, you know, other people are not in my position, I'm the only one in this scenario. You're not. Find your Jet, Kyles, and Freddies and find them because they're out there. You might think you're so unique and so different from the rest of the world, but trust me, there's at least 5 other people out there that are in a similar position as you, and they need you just as much as you need them, and finding those people will help you push forward and become great. Another thing, some people I did not mention in this video because this is more about my entrepreneurial journey, but I do want to mention all of my good friends throughout high school, Sean Smith, Luke Neesett, and then some of my friends that I've made since I've been here, Tyler Cobb, Daniel Avital, and then also some of my team members throughout the way. They don't work for me anymore because I don't sell sneakers, but Tommy Mandel, Jack Hubbard, Johnny Sawyers, and my family, of course, my mom, my sister, and my dad. My mom really helps me if I'm ever having a hard time. I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I feel like I'm all alone here. I live here with my friend, but sometimes he's at the warehouse and I'm just like kind of stuck here. I don't know anyone really here. I'm still new to the area, and it's like most of the other kids that I know in my position are all in college, and I don't have that. So, you know, there are some difficulties when you're not in college, because, you know, it's hard to meet people like, you know, that are trying to make a difference at a young age. So my mom really helps me through that. And then my sister, always kind of been there. You know, I just want to be a good role model to her, and I want to just inspire as many people as possible, and including her. And it's just, you know, she's somebody I look to make her feel proud that I'm her brother every day. And she's somebody that, you know, every time I do something, I have her in the back of my mind, and I'm just like, you know, like, what would she think about what I'm doing? You know, would she be proud of this? And that's kind of am I a good role model? And that's kind of what I look for. And then my dad, he's helped me a lot along the way with just like how to treat things, how to, you know, respect people, how to, you know, go about business, how to, you know, build a brand, how to do a lot of things, like how to manage your finances and keep track of everything, because there's a lot to it. And business and life is not easy. And, you know, without my dad, I would be nothing. I would be nothing here. I wouldn't have any of this. I would have probably, I don't know where I would have ended up. Without the people in my life, there would be nothing here. So I just want to say really thank you. If you weren't a part of all of the story, it's because I have to break down the story a little bit, because otherwise it's way too long. The story, I could talk about this for 20 hours. But I don't want to leave anybody out, and I want to let everyone know. Back home, thank you. I will be making another one of these videos 5 years from today, when I turn 24. And I'll probably be watching this video and being like, wow, a lot has changed, because I know 5 years ago from today, a lot has changed. Hope this video, maybe you can see I'm a real person behind the screen, and maybe it helped inspire you, or maybe send it to somebody you think it will help inspire. But yeah, thanks.